So you've heard about this awesome game called Teamfight Tactics and wondering what it was and how you can put your big brains to test with it? Well, my name is Frodan and I'm here to help you with just that. First, what even is Teamfight Tactics? Think of it like an 8-player free-for-all chess or tower defense game with the pieces being powerful champions in the League of Legends universe. But don't worry, you don't need to know anything about League of Legends or even chess to play TFT. And now that we know what we're trying to do, let's walk through your very first game of TFT so that you can see just how fun and engaging it can be. At the beginning of the game, you'll vote on one of 3 portals and vote for it by standing on it. Each of these portals alters the game's rules. With over 40 options, each game offers varying experiences. You can opt in for more resources for everybody, including yourself, or minimal tactics, depending on your playstyle. In this game, these cute little scuttle crabs are going to give us extra loot and resources, so we'll have much more gold for buying champions than usual. At the start of every game, we'll be looting these monsters to collect items, gold, and champions. This is called our opener, before fighting other players in the lobby. So walk over these orbs and collect your loot. For our first game, our core game plan will be to play a strong, basic strategy of spending our gold at low levels to find 9 copies of a champion and 3-star them for victory. We call this in TFT a reroll strategy, and I highly encourage any starting player to begin their journey with reroll comps. Compositions in TFT are constructed from traits that you see on the left-hand side of the screen. In this game, we're going to be focusing our strategy on a simple sniper composition, focusing on 2 1-cost units. Caitlyn and Kog'Maw. Snipers are a trait that gives you bonus damage for each hex between the unit and the target, so putting them in the far back is key. Kog'Maw also has another trait called Mythic, which gives all Mythic units bonus stats. So this gives us a reason to also look for Cho'Gath, a Mythic Behemoth tank. By finding Malphite who shares the defensive Behemoth trait with Cho'Gath, we put together a nice, well-rounded team of snipers and Behemoths. Before you go into your first PvP fight, you'll be offered a screen of 3 augment choices. Augments are the bread and butter of what makes each TFT game unique. It can power up your existing team with combat power, offer you additional resources to greed harder, or even transform your entire game plan on the spot. Below each augment, you'll see the option to reroll the augment if you don't like it. There are hundreds of augments in the game, ranging from straightforward, powerful choices to clever and unique abilities that only work if you're playing that 1 in 100 game. Augments are what truly gives TFT that infinite replayability because you never know what that next augment holds. In this case, let's take the Mythic Crest because we know we want to play around the Mythic trait and turn any champion into a Mythic unit. At lower levels, you'll have higher chances to see 1 cost, so this is why we say lower level, so we can maximize our odds of seeing the 1 cost that we need. After a few fights have passed, in the middle of each stage, an event happens called the Carousel. The Carousel is a comeback mechanic that shows a selection of units and items. Starting from the lowest health, players are released 2 by 2 and are allowed to choose what unit and item combination they want. So because we lost early, we are in 5th place in health, we get to choose 2nd. Let's pick up that Senna with a sword. This brings us to items. Items are the key core of how you multiply the effectiveness of our units. A high-level champion with no items is like going into a raid with no gear. So make sure to dress for success and itemize your tanks and carries, aka your defensive and offensive superstars. Our core items are made up by combining 2 of any components, and they're divided into 3 categories: physical, magical, and defensive items. For now, let's focus on physical versus magic damage. In TFT, we call physical damage AD, which is short for attack damage, and magic damage AP for ability power. For snipers, we'll have a mix of physical and magic damage, or AD and AP, because we want to set up a double threat. However, in the future, for other comps, you'll likely want similar types of damage so you can have consistent results for streamlined success. Because Caitlyn has the orange axe on her ability, you can tell she scales with physical, aka AD. Kog'Maw has this blue fireball on his ability, so this means magic, aka AP. So all of our AD item components, like swords and bows, will go on Caitlyn, while Kog'Maw will take our AP components, like rods for magic damage and tears for mana generation. At the top of the screen, you'll see a small swirl icon. That is the main mechanic for this particular set, Inkborn Fables, an Eastern fantasy theme, and its set mechanic is encounters. Encounters are a random story event that may alter the game depending on what champion appears. In some instances, you might get a temporary or even permanent buffs that can replace big moments. In other encounters, it can just be a fun flavor moment that gives your little legend larger curves that you can respectfully admire. Each game has 2 to 5 encounters, and you can hover in the top left to check out what happened. You may have noticed by now that we're not spending our gold for a long time. We're almost at 70 plus gold now. This is because TFT rewards you for one of the most OP mechanics ever invented by humanity and is still prevalent in modern society: compound interest. For each 10 gold you save, you get an additional gold up to 5 interest or 50 gold per turn. So saving helps you save more and allows you to generate more income than other players who are spending their gold to level or roll early. So because we're capped at 50 gold for interest gains, we will roll down to 50 every turn to look for our 1-cause units. Then we let our natural income combine with the interest and roll our excess gold. Just like in life, if we try to do this on an empty bank account, you're going to struggle, most likely not hit, and be far behind everybody else. Stage 4 is already the beginning of the end game, so let's go ahead and roll for Malphite 3, Kog'Maw 3, and Caitlyn 3 and push levels. The maximum tier of a unit is 3 stars, which is acquired by getting 3 2-star champions, or in other words, 9 copies. Oftentimes, in a game of TFT, you can't always get what you want. Staying at low levels just for Cho'Gath alone is not worth it. So we abandoned part of our initial game plan to try to keep up with the other players. You gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them, or when to chold them. The last core element of TFT is positioning. Just like any sports team, the formation and spacing your team can often be the difference between narrow success or a complete fumble in the execution of the play. Underneath the player HP, you may see a small cross swords icon, which indicates that this is someone you may play next. And if there's only one, you're guaranteed to fight them next. So here, we scout and see that their carry with items is in the top right corner. And this means that we can double up our snipers on the bottom left corner for maximum sniper value. By placing snipers in the corner, we are giving them maximum distance for that sniper damage bonus. We line up our front line to keep them effective and holding off enemy units. And look at that. In TFT, we call that a positioning diff. Who knows if we would have won without that last second maneuver. We won a lot of fights and it was looking good, but it also seems like our team is starting to get outscaled by higher tier comps that successfully pushed high enough levels. So it looks like we're going to lose our last couple of fights. But that's okay. In TFT, getting top 4 is a win, so you're guaranteed points towards your rank. From there, any additional placements is gravy on top. Reroll strategies are great for that top 4 win, but oftentimes can struggle to get that coveted top 1 spot for maximum rank points. But that's a fight for another day. And there you have it, our first dub in the books. And we didn't need to know a thing about League of Legends or anything to do it. So what are you waiting for? Hop on in and join on the fun, and I'll see you on the Convergence.